The magic of ancient Egyptians was a science derived from knowledge and books, and the ancient Egyptian magician was educated in a high culture and possessed extensive knowledge in many literary, religious, physical, and magical fields. The Holy Quran stated that the ancient Egyptians practiced witchcraft, saying, "And Pharaoh said, 'Bring me every knowledgeable sorcerer.' It was nothing but a scientific miraculous power that whoever possesses it can do works that the ordinary human mind cannot comprehend its secret." According to Dr. Myrna Mohammed Al-Qadi, a tourist guide and researcher in Egyptology, the general public called them magicians because they come up with hidden things that their mind, which was in eras where technology and science do not prevail as it is now, does not believe.
In her new research, Al-Qadi monitored the manifestations of magic in ancient Egypt, where she started by shedding light on the meaning of magic linguistically, in the Egyptian language and the Arabic language, saying, "To this day, dozens of books have been written about magic among the ancient Egyptians, where this practice was taken." The title of several books in different languages of the world. This title, but until now we have not found anyone to explain to us the nature or what is magic among the ancients. Semantically, magic in the comprehensive lexicon is everything that conceals its cause, imagines it to be untrue, and takes the course of camouflage and deception, exposing falsehood in the form of truth, the use of supernatural powers by spirits, the art and practices of the magician. As for the word magic in the ancient Egyptian language scratch, it was incorrectly translated into magic, and the word recount or judgment was translated by Egyptologists as sorcerer. It is true that the word sorcerer does not mean magic, but rather wisdom or judgment, and from it came the word sage, which means philosopher and physician, as well as alchemist and scientist. Secrets of nature and the supernatural. Beginning with griot, magic began in ancient Egypt from time immemorial, predating their knowledge of writing. If we do not know the name of the first Egyptian magician, we can say that a certain class of priests called the chanting priests or griot of love in the ancient Egyptian language are the ones who specialized in practicing magic. As for the nature of magic, why, it was just an imaginary ritual to influence the viewer and delude him with things that do not exist. But indeed, the ancient magicians reached knowledge of post-nature science or metaphysics. The ancient Egyptian magicians became famous among all the neighboring peoples for the fame of magic and the ingenuity of the Egyptian magicians. In the ancient Egyptian civilization more than in all other civilizations, the Egyptians practiced magic in the affairs of their lives besides their worship of the gods, starting from the huts of simple peasants and fishermen, and ending with temples and royal palaces. Therefore, archaeological sites in Egypt, especially on the banks of the Nile, contain amulets, spells, drawings and statues even of witches, and researchers finally found them in the far depths of the villages of Upper Egypt, and all the heavenly books referred to Egyptian magic as a kind of illusion. As the researcher Evan Kong mentions in his book translated into Arabic, Magic and Magicians of the Pharaohs, the ancient Egyptian magicians used it to protect Egypt from its enemies and the flood of the Nile in abundance, and to prevent demons and evil forces that imagine the ancients it lurks for them. Asterisk, the secret of hidden powers. Magicians were able to bring in hidden powers that exist around us and in things, whether inanimate or living, and control of post-nature powers was a secret science that magicians did not convey except with conditions, covenants, and no one could be a magician. And we do not know the conditions for selecting magicians, even if we know that they learned in temples. The doll was used in magic among the ancient Egyptians, meaning that the magician, if he wanted to harm someone with magic, would make a doll for him and prick it with needles or burn it. This is on the King Ramses III. But their matter was discovered and arrested.
There is an exciting story. We find an Egyptian priest discovering his wife's betrayal of him with a young man. So he made a small crocodile out of wax and waited until the young man went down to the pool to wash. Curses and threats.
In the tombs of the Saqqara region and the pyramid, there are inscriptions and hieroglyphic writings that include curses and threats on the walls and entrances to the tombs. These curses were written as a desire from the deceased to keep thieves away from these tombs in order to preserve the mummified body that the soul recognizes again in the other world. Magic was an effective means of defense for the cemetery and its treasures. It revealed a tomb for one of the artists called Betty inside the tombs of the workers who built the pyramids. And in the cabin of this tomb built of mud bricks, there are two different magical inscriptions, one for Tati and the other for his wife. He enters this cemetery to touch it with his will, and whoever does anything against it will be devoured by crocodiles, and devoured by hippos in the waters, and snakes and lions in the land. There is another cemetery in Saqqara at its entrance, an inscription in which its owner says, "Whoever harms my cemetery badly, I will cut off his neck like a goose." One of the most beautiful things that was found was that the entrance to one of the tombs found a person standing with a large stick in his hand, indicating that anyone would be harmed. Some Khufu and the witches, when the son of King Khufu, the owner of the Great Pyramid, came to the magician, and his name was my grandfather, who lived in the city of Het-Sneferu and was 100 years old. And Khufu asked him about the truth of what he had heard, that my grandfather could cut off a person's head and return it again. And the magician answered yes. And the king asked him to do that. But the magician refused and said, "I do not do that to a human being." The king said, "I will bring a prisoner." The magician said, "The prisoner is a human being." So he brought him a goose, and its neck flew into the sky amidst the astonishment of those present. Then he put the gooseneck back to run in front of those present. The truth is that magic is nothing but an imagination for the eyes of the beholders and not a tangible reality. See you soon.